Hey guys! Today we're going to be making miniature tacos inspired by actual Mexican tacos rather than, I guess, the rest of the world Tex-Mex version, so I hope you'll enjoy. Don't forget, if you enjoyed these videos and want to see more, please give the video a thumbs up, and if you have any food requests, feel free to leave them in the comments. Let's get started! You first want to roll out a thin sheet of some scrap clay and then cut out a circle that is slightly larger than the tortilla or taco shell. You can then use any tools of your choice to add some texture. Remember, if you have any questions about the tools and materials I use, I always link my video about it in the info box. For the texture on this one, I'm using one of my silicone tools or rubber tools, as well as some tinfoil and a toothbrush. I didn't record the clip of me actually using the toothbrush at the end, but I just gave it a very light texture. And the reason why I'm adding texture to a piece of scrap clay rather than just using the right color of clay from the beginning is so that I can make a mold and add texture to both sides. If you're interested in seeing a video for what I previously in the video referred to as the rest of the world Tex-Mex version of a taco, definitely let me know in the comments. I think that is the version most people are familiar with, which I guess is pretty sad, but I did want to start out by posting an actual Mexican inspired one. After baking, you then want to take any mold putty of your choice and make 2 molds. Dust them with a bit of cornstarch or potato starch so the clay won't stick. Then take a light dough color, roll out a thin sheet, cut out a circle in the right size, and then use a mold to add the texture. To make the meat, I mixed some scrap pieces of brown, white and pink. I then took the shade that is the most pink and wrapped it in sheets of the other colors. Roll it out, flatten it slightly and cut some slices. And then for the inside texture, I just used a needle tool. And once you've done that, you can place them on top of the tortillas. When making these, I purposely tried to not make them look too aesthetically pleasing, if that makes any sense. I didn't want it to look too much like you'd been arranging the toppings for the purpose of a photography, but rather just putting them on one by one for the purpose of eating it. Next, I placed a couple of the cherry tomatoes from my last tutorial. Then to make onion, I mixed white and translucent, rolled out a thin sheet, cut that into strips and then cut it into small pieces. Finally, to make the cilantro or coriander depending on where you're from, I cut some thin slices of green clay, used my X-Acto knife to add some texture around the edges, and then place these on top as well. After baking, you then want to add some shading. I first went in with 2 shades of soft pastel, and I applied these with a damp brush. Another quick note just to let you know that I actually do read the comments and I'm genuinely interested in hearing your opinion when I ask questions. I did go through the comments on the video where I asked when you would like me to upload, and I was kind of surprised by the answer or the response, because I think the majority of you wanted me or preferred me to upload on a random day just to have it as kind of like a surprise. And I am going to take all the responses into consideration when figuring out if I'm going to have a specific upload date or keep it kind of random. You then want to seal that with a matte glaze, and though I've addressed this in previous videos, I still get questions about it, so when you're sealing these with the glaze, to make sure that the pastel doesn't smear, you want to make sure to be very careful and barely touch the clay with the bristles of the brush. I used brown acrylic paint to add some shading to the meat. I mostly applied this to the edges of the meat, but I also applied some to the tortilla itself, just to look like greasy meat marinade stuff. I also added some shading to the cilantro. And then lastly, I just mixed up some resin and mixed this with some of the brown acrylic paint I used before. And I applied this to some areas. If you don't have resin, you can also use Fimo or Kato liquid clays. One of the reasons why I've started using resin is just because I like how it has that instant glossy look. But I also love how it's a lot easier to make it stay where you're actually placing it, having it be completely transparent no matter how much you're using, and also how you're able to add some texture to it before it sets. If you want to, you can finish off with some gloss glaze, and then I also glued on a couple of slices or wedges of lime. I'm not going to be including those in this video just because I want things to be pretty separate. I am definitely going to be posting a citrus tutorial at some point, but I'm pretty sure it's one of the canes most people have made in the past, so you should be able to find a video for it on YouTube. And if not, I do have a super old video for it on my main channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next tutorial.